AIA Vitality. Your health is every choice you make. We are part of a global wellness program with over 1.65 million members in AIA across Asia. And in Singapore, we have more than 100,000 members on AIA Vitality. Members live healthier by knowing their health through online health assessments and screenings. They improve their health by logging exercises and enjoying the rewards to keep them going. And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge, with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality Wheel to earn Vitality Coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality Points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get onto AIA Vitality today because your health is every choice you make.
Good afternoon, everybody, and a belated Salamat Hari Raya to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. We are live at our Tampines hub on the east coast of Singapore for AIA Singapore Premier League action. It's Stags and Tigers, Tampines Rovers up against Balestier Khalsa, third against fifth. Well, we're back to our 5:30 p.m. kickoff times. It's Saturday night sunset football. Kick-off now just moments away. Let's get straight downstairs. Our very own Farah has caught up with both bosses. We'll hear from Marko, the Balestier Khalsa boss, after Farah has got the latest from Stags gaffer Gavin Lee.
Gavin, Balestier today, who you do have a pretty good record against, how confident do you feel going into this?
Yeah, for us, records don't mean much. Every game is unique in itself, so we are here to do our best, play to our principles, and hopefully get the 3 points.
Now, I know you say records don't mean much, but your opponents tonight, winless in 4. What kind of a challenge will you be expecting here?
Yeah, the same was shaped to us when we played Geylang previously, and obviously that game was very entertaining, very highly contested, good quality game, and we are expecting the same today.
Now let's talk starting 11. Yasser on the bench. Just tell us your decision behind that.
Yeah, no, we just rotated Yas out so that he comes in offering us something different. We've set up with a slightly different midfield today to combat against their 4-4-2, and let's see how it all pans out.
Marko, you come into this on the back of that 4-3 loss against Hougang. Tampines today, thoughts going into this one?
Very unlucky, last game, we was playing well, scored 3 goals. It's just no luck, but boys play very well. Hopefully they can transfer this to next game, to their game.
And what have you worked on from that loss for the weekend?
Work on defense, of course. Consider 4 goals. We need to be more tight. We need to defend much better, And this is the main focus on today's game. Try to keep clean sheet.
How tough do you think today is going to be?
Very tough. Meaning you're playing against Tampines. He's always playing here in the Tampines hub. It's not easy. But we will try our best.
And finally, how will you be lining up today?
Lining up, only one changes will be from last game. Faisal's injury is out, and then Ahmad will go in, and the rest all will be same from last game.
Marko, thank you. Good luck.
You're welcome.
Two of the nicest men in Singapore football, Gavin Lee and Marko is ready to do battle as we are at our Tampines hub for live Saturday night sunset AIA Singapore Premier League action. There is this season's brand new AIA Singapore Premier League ball from our good friends at Select. It's been winning rave reviews from players and coaches alike. Unfortunately, no fans here because of the reinforcement of COVID restrictions in Singapore, but it's still very much hashtag game still on. So I hope you're safe and well wherever you're watching around the world. Of course, our associated international broadcast partners and our fans in Singapore on Singtel, StarHub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports. And Farah mentioned to Gavin in that interview about Gavin's good record against Balestier Khalsa. He's played them 6 times, 3 wins and 3 draws. You have to go back 6 years to the last time Balestier Khalsa beat Tampines Rovers. Then it was a thriller, 7-goal thriller at Topayo Stadium. And interestingly, in the starting lineup that day was a certain Saiful Nizam, who'll be in between the sticks for Balestier again today. And in the dugout that day for Balestier was Marko. Of course, Gavin Lee, 6 years ago, was still in his early 20s. Now his meteoric rise culminating in Tampines qualifying for this season's AFC Champions League, which incidentally has been confirmed this week to be being played in Uzbekistan. So the Stags will be taking on the likes of Jumbuk, Sydney and Gamba Osaka, who in the week sacked their manager, Suniyasu Miyamoto. Uzbekistan it will be for the Stags next month, we hope, for the AFC Champions League. There are our match officials, led by Mr. Jansen Fu, one of the senior members of the Singapore panel, assisted today by Lim Kok Heng, Alson Fu and Mohammed Hilmi Fuad. So the shadow being cast over this incredible and unique sporting complex. The floodlights will be on in the second half, of that you can be sure. It's just coming up to 5:30 local time here in Singapore, and you're very welcome for the best seat in the house, what we hope will be another cracking AIA Singapore Premier League game. Last time out, the Stags here came from 2 down to get a point against Albirex, the league leaders and defending champions. And they've got Big Bad Boris showing something like his best form again. There's Baihaki Kaizan going through his shot. They're a true legend, Singapore football. He steps in for the suspended Daniel Bennett today. Balestier Khalsa, well, they come here, and you heard from Marko in the interview, they feel a bit hard done by this season. Nothing's gone their way. They had a penalty decision waved away in that 4-3 defeat against Taogang. They also have been on the wrong end of a controversial red card that saw Ensar Bruncevic red carded when they took on Taogang earlier in the season, and they're entitled to consider themselves a little bit unlucky in terms of the results they've had so far. So Tampines and Balestier Khalsa almost set for action here on this sunny Saturday in Singapore. Going back to the time these two teams met earlier in the season at Topayo Stadium, the Stags won that by 2-1, but again, continuing Marko's theme of nothing really going their way, they felt they had a perfectly legitimate equaliser in that game, chalked off. Tampines went on to win it by 2-1. Confirmation Jansen Fu, our man in the middle, as Madu Mahana skippering Tampines today in place of Yasser Hanapi, who starts on the bench. More on that in a minute. And of course, Saiful Nizam, a veteran of that game 6 years ago, the last time Balestier Khalsa got the better of Tampines Rovers. We'll check out the teams in just a moment for you as the final pre-match ceremonies are underway. The Stags lining up for a team photo, and Balestier Khalsa getting into their huddle. 2 changes to the Stags, to the team that drew 2-2 with Albirex. Dan Bennett suspended, Baihaki comes in, and Yasser Hanapi drops down to the bench to make way for a really exciting young Singapore talent in Mark Ryan Tan, who lit up some of the Young Lions games last season. He certainly looks to have improved for the Stags this campaign. On the bench, Yasser Hanapi, and of course Taufik Saporno, who's already got 4 goals this season, is more than a useful weapon to call upon off the subs bench. Balestier Khalsa, well, 2 changes. You heard from Marko that Faisal Rafi is out injured. Puvan Raj also missing from the matchday squad. In comes the young Josh D'Souza, and Ahmed Shahir will be playing on the right side of defence. And when you look at the 2 benches, no question, that Tampines have the edge in terms of strength and depth. Balestier actually naming 2 goalkeepers on their bench today in Ricky Kimura and Martin Munn. There is Gavin Lee, who's AFC Champions League bound. Hashtag Gavball. He continues to win fans with his style of football, even if the results have somewhat been a bit of a mixed bag this season for Tampines. They're struggling at the moment to keep tabs on the Lion City Sailors and Albirex. They come into this one knowing that a win will take them top of the table, but unless they win by 7 and Albirex lose to the Young Lions, well, maybe you have to make do with taking over the Lion City Sailors for second spot. The Sailors play tomorrow in a game that we'll be able to see live as they take on Tanjung Pagar United at Jalan Besar. So the Stags, the men in black in their pre-match huddle, Balestier Khalsa already in formation, ready to rock. Tampines, who showed such heart to come from 2-0 down against Albirex, can they get back to a winning trail here, having had 2 victories and 2 draws in the last 4 games? Slightly concerning was another draw, came against Tanjung Pagar United. Balestier Khalsa, without a win in their last 4, can they get back on a winning thread here this afternoon? It's Balestier in the white, playing right to left. The Stags in the black, left to right. And an early toucher by Haki, who gets it back to Madu. Back to the keeper, Shazwan. I'll have to be careful. Look how quickly Sime Zuzul was closing him down there. And it's a high-octane start from both teams here. We'll keep you up to date with what's happening at Jalan Besar tomorrow, and of course Jurong East tonight, where Albirex Nagata and the Young Lions have kicked off. Top playing bottom in that one. Here's a touch for Amir Hakim, who got the goal for Balestier in that 2-1 defeat against Tampines earlier in the season. Now Mehmedovic took that ball well, finds Armin out on the left. Armin Bosniak looking for Big Bad Boris, and getting there first was Amir Hakim. The clearance not convincing, helped on by the head of Akil Yazid. And Zuzu loses out to Ryan Sanazal, who's another youngster who's impressed in the league this season. Armin, cut out by Ensar Bruncevic. He really is a credit to the league, Ensar Bruncevic, the way he handled himself when he got that red card that was later rescinded against Taogang. Really was impressive earlier in the season. Speaking about goal droughts, what about Jumbo Hoshino, Shuhei Hoshino, who hasn't scored since a brace in the 3-0 draw against the Young Lions on the opening day of the season. So Jumbo's due a goal. As Madu heads it up. Here is Hoshino. Takes an air shot there, and it's gathered up by Iman Hakim. It's a touch for Irwan Shah. Back to Shazwan as Tampines try and stroke it around from the back. Madu looking for Boris Kapinovic. He's beaten to it, Boris, by a good challenge from Amir Hakim. By Haki. Oh, that's a pass that was easily picked off by Hoshino. Bruncevic, he's found some space here for Gareth Lowe. As these two teams feeling each other out early, really. Tampines enjoying the better of their possession through the first 2.5 minutes, but we've yet to really see the keeper remotely tested. Here's Ahmed Shahir. Inside to Boris. Kiki Krajcik, oh, that's a good reverse pass, picked off by Madu. Zuzu nearly got there. Played out from the back by Ryan Sanazal. Mehmedovic and Nakamura. Such guile on display in midfield here with Mehmedovic, Nakamura, and of course Kiki Krajcik. Oh, lovely leave for Irwan Shah. Irwan Shah, Boris! Very nearly got there. It was a brave header by Amir Hakim. And then they'll get the free kick to clear the danger. Well, that's going to be a really important aerial battle that Balestier will need to win here this afternoon. Amir Hakim up against Boris Kapinovic, and he did very well there, the youngster. It's going to be a test for him today, Amir Hakim. Still only 22 years of age, the former Young Lion. Call up to the national squad in recent times. Ryan Sanazel, Irwan, Nakamura. Tampines starting to monopolise possession as Albirex Nagata take the lead early on in the game at Jurong East. So the first goal of the afternoon goes to the league leaders. Looks like they'll be staying at the summit for yet another weekend. They lead the Young Lions early. Albirex Nagata 1, the Young Lions 0. Here's still goalless through 4 minutes. But Tampines are monopolising possession for the most part. Balestier Khalsa, well, they only fifth was where they finished last season, but you go through some of their games this season. 4-1 against Albirex, that flatters Albirex really, that game 2 match days ago. The 4-1 against the Lions City Sailors, they were competitive through the first half in that one. They lost 1-0 to Haugang when Ensar Bruncevic was sent off incorrectly after just 20 minutes. They got the win against Geylang, 4-0 against Tanjung Bagara, and let's not forget they're the only team to stop Albirex Nagata scoring this season. That was a 0-0 draw at Jurong East, and they were arguably unfortunate not to win that game. They had Sime Zuzu off the bench in the second half, who could have won it late on. They had some chances that day. Good work from Nakamura. Momenovic, oh, lovely pass to tease it through for Armin Bosniak. Boris waits in the middle, and that's a very important challenge. Wonderful, wonderful tackle from Akil Yazid. So, some of the youngsters on display already showing some good touches here this afternoon. Iman Hakim by Haki to Madu. Madu starting to just show signs that Tampines skipper that he wants to get forward as much as possible here. They're enjoying so much possession that they're having the luxury at the moment of playing a back three. Here's Armin Bosniak, who has improved week on week since his arrival in Singapore football. Nakamura wins the free kick against Kiki Krajcek, taken quickly over the top, and it missed out Boris Kapinovic, and Mark Ryan Tan unable to control. So still in the feeding out process here. The feeding out process already over at Jurong East as Albirex Nagata lead early. Goal scorer in that one to follow. Leading goal scorer this season for Balestier Khalsa is Christian Krajcek, the man they call Kiki. He's got 5. Boris Kapinovic just 1 shy of double digits. His big bad Boris, he's 2 away from Tomoyuki Doi and Kiyashiro Suboi at the top of the goal scoring charts. It's going to be a fascinating race for the Golden Boot this season. Bearing in mind Stipe Plazabat also level with Boris on 9. His Lions City Sailors take on Tanjung Bagara United tomorrow. Here is Boris Kapinovic. Back to Iman Hakim. Back to Shazwan. Should point out as well that game that finished 2-1 at Topayo earlier in the season. Game played under floodlights, I think, if memory serves. That game was 0-0 at half-time, and although they've got a very attacking lineup on paper, they do know how to keep games tight, Balestier Khalsa. Proven against Tampines in that first appearance of the season between the two sides, and indeed against Albirex Nagata as Akil Yazid just got in a tangle there. Pretty blatant as well against Armin Bosniak, who's going to be a handful to deal with. Nicky Singh, by the way, Nicky Melvin. Oh, there's a goal here! And it's Boris Kapinovic out of nothing. Well, that's too easy. The dream start for the Stags inside 9 minutes. Nicky Melvin Singh may have scored at Jurong East. Boris Kapinovic is into double digits here at our Tampines hub. Gavin Lee, as is so often the case, emotionless on the bench. But Balestier Khalsa have the nightmare beginning here. But they were caught out over the top. Armin Bosniak to Boris Kapinovic. A simpler goal they will not score. Look at that ball from Nakamura. That's the second time Armin Bosniak's got in behind, and this time there was no fairy tale challenge from Amir Hakim. And Boris slotted it home for his 10th of the campaign. Tampines Rovers 1, Balestier Khalsa 0. Early goals in both games tonight. Here's Boris Kapinovic. Not happy with Janssen Fu's decision there as he gives away the free kick. Yeah, that's going to throw Balestier Khalsa's game plan out the window. I mentioned with their injury issues that they haven't got the strongest bench. Faisal Rafi. Obviously injured. They've got a long-term knee problem with Arish Kumar, so they're down to bare bone status. And defence is wilting under the pressure at the moment, and attacking options on the bench are not plentiful. So they're going to have to utilise the talent they've got here. One thing that will encourage them, of course, is that Tampines have been beaten despite scoring an early goal already this season. That was the case when they took the lead at Albirex Dagata, and it was Boris Kapinovic that scored that day as well. Albirex went on to win that game by 2-1. And Tampines Rovers now have scored in their last 45 Singapore Premier League games. That's the longest streak in the division. Armin Bosniak coming up with his 4th assist of the campaign. Here's Gareth Lowe. Gets it back to Zaiful Nizam, who couldn't really do much with that. It was just so simple. Nakamura gets it back to Iman Hakim. And Tampines really just starving Balestier Khalsa with the ball at the moment. Can't recall a Balestier Khalsa player touching the ball in the Tampines penalty area yet. And Erwan tries to release Armin again. Armin will get to this first and let it roll out for a corner, which will be the first of the game. So, Mehmedovic over to take. Balestier Khalsa desperately needs to keep this tight early on now. They can't afford to go more than one down. Mehmedovic, headed away by Hoshino. Straight back to Mehmedovic though. He's got Nakamura as an option if he needs it. Armin there as well. Mehmedovic opts to go to Nakamura. Armin, what a handful he is down that left-hand side. Armin Bosniak proved to be a really shrewd signing, the Montenegrin. Didn't actually know Boris Kapinovic. The assumption would be, bearing in mind Boris Kapinovic is Montenegrin as well, that they knew each other. All that Boris could say about him when I think Gavin Lee was thinking of signing for him was that Boris did remember playing against him and rated him as a player, and that was enough to give Tampines a Montenegrin duo for this season. Armin effectively replacing Jordan Webb, who's now in Canada, playing for Atletico Ottawa. Another good cross comes in, it's an own goal! Well, who's got the last touch there? Calamitous defending, and it's Mark Ryan Tam for his first goal in a Tampines shirt, and Balestier Khalsa. The Tigers are being tamed here, and how? Well, I'll have to see the replay. I think it did come off Mark Ryan Tam. My initial reaction was it might have been an own goal, but how did the diminutive Mark Ryan Tam go? It came off him all right. Mark Ryan Tam rising highest, which is all the more remarkable when you consider he was dwarfed with the players around him, and that is a sensational header. Armin Bosniak once again with the assist, and look what that means to young Mark Ryan Tam. His first goal in Tampines colours, it's an absolute beauty as well. Well, The reason why I thought own goal, I thought there's no way Mark Ryan Tan has risen above those two big Balestier defenders. How wrong can you be? It was a glorious header. And Tampines have two inside 15 minutes. And Balestier Khalsa are in a world of trouble here now. And Tampines have only conceded more than 2 goals twice this season in an opening day 3-0 draw against the Lion City Sailors and that remarkable 5-1 defeat at Hougang, which they'll get a chance to avenge here next weekend in our feature match next week, Tampines Hougang. Difficult to see how Balestier Khalsa can get away back into this, even though we've only had a quarter of an hour of football. Ensar Bruncevic tries to get high there, but they're capable of breaking quickly. That's a lovely touch from Iman Hakim, and down the left. Armin Bosniak goes once more. Look at that for a pass just beyond Mehmedovic. And as they try and play it out the back through Josh D'Souza, they'll have to make do with a throw after good work in the middle of the park by Nakamura. Akil Yazid with a throw. Zuzu, they've got to try and get Hoshino and Zuzu involved more. Hoshino's almost playing back in midfield now. That's a misplaced pass from Josh D'Souza. And Boris Kapinovic not thinking about keeping Saiful Nizam honest there. You know, just looking at the way they're lining up here. Hoshino almost playing in the middle with Zuzu up top and Josh D'Souza just playing off Balestier Khalsa's Croatian number 10. Madu. Nice header, Iman Hakim. Mark Ryan Tan. Oh, he just got caught late there, Mark Ryan Tan. Gareth Lowe went through. Nakamura. Oh, they're bossing this Tampines. This is Gav ball at its finest, and every time they get the ball to Armin Bosniak out on the left, you get the feeling something's capable of happening. He's already created 2 goals. That header from Mark Ryan Tan. Absolute cracker. I don't believe Mark Ryan Tan scored when he was with the Young Lions either, so it's his first ever AIA Singapore Premier League goal, and what a cracker it was. Looking forward to seeing that again at the hydration break, which will be coming up very shortly. It's a very humid afternoon here now. The kickoffs are back to 5:30 local time, so I'm sure the hydration break will be welcomed by both sides, in particular Marko Kravic, who's got to try and find a way of getting his team back into this. They did come back into the game in that 4-1 loss against Albirex briefly, and they got a chance there because that's not the best clearance from Shazwan to Josh D'Souza. Josh D'Souza, Gareth Lowe. Back to D'Souza. Now Ensar Bruncevic. Gareth Lowe. Nice touch from the Balestier man, but Kiki Krajcek is offside. And they're still yet, I think, to touch the ball in the Tampines penalty area. Balestier Khalsa. Here's Madu Mahana with the throw. Well, one in the air by Akil Yazid. Madu being hassled and harried by Zuzu, but does really well. And look how strong Boris is in possession. Fires Mehmedovic. They're overlapping on that left-hand side. Erwan and Armin both wait. Arman's in acres of space if Mehmedovic uses him, which he does. The last 2 times Armin's had the ball here. It's led to a goal. It might do again. There's a chance to turn and get the shot away. But Erwan just worried out of it. And now, up the other end on a quick break, here comes Hoshino with empty space in front of him. Just hesitated for a minute there, and he'll try and release Zulzul, but Ryan Sanazul stands up to it really well. Meanwhile, Nakamura, I think, is claiming foul for something. I think believes he might have been caught late there. Just fell down awkwardly on his shoulder. The ankle seems to be a bother as well. Kyoga Nakamura, formerly of Albirex Nagata, an absolute credit to the league as well. There's Marko Kravic. He's got a lot of thinking to do here. Amir Hakim. Now here's a foot race, and it's going to be wide. He goes down, and the referee's given the penalty. Well, Ryan Salazar brings down Sime Zuzu, and with their first foray into the Stags area, Balestier Khalsa have been thrown a lifeline to get straight back into this. Spot kick at OTH. Now let's have a look at it again. Zuzu, Salazar does well, but I think it's a clumsy challenge. And at the same end of the field, Tampines won a somewhat controversial penalty in injury time to get the 2-2 draw against Albirex last time out. Now, the boot is on the other foot. And Zuzu will stand up to get his 4th of the season. And he dispatches it beautifully off the post past Shazwan. Stags 2, Tigers 1. And Balestier Khalsa, not for the first time this season, show their battling qualities. And speaking of battling qualities, the Young Lions have equalised at Geelong East as well. It's a goal fest this Saturday in the AIA Singapore Premier League. Young Lions level it up against Albirex Nagata, and Balestier Khalsa get one back here against the Stags. Sime Zuzu with his 4th of the campaign, and it's game on at OTH once more. Jansen Fu, he hesitated for a split second, but I think on balance he may have made the right decision there. They weren't overly protesting, the Tampines players, and after Zuzu got there first, Sanaz will always run the risk when he went in like that in the area. Well, this is some afternoon already in the AIA Singapore Premier League. We'll get confirmation of that goal scorer for the Young Lions for you in a minute, but can't take your eyes off this AIA Singapore Premier League action this Saturday afternoon so far. Well, the free kick to Balestier Khalsa here. If they can get level before half-time, it's a miracle. Joel Chu, by the way, keeping up the Tampines theme. Joel Chu's got the equaliser for the Young Lions at Jalabasar. Special, at Geelong East, I should say. Special moment for him. Meanwhile, this one is dinked over the top by Haswan Halim. Madu Mahana with a header. Finds Armin, but they're still in their own final third. Gareth Lowe trying to hassle and harry. Mehmedovic has got that away to Irwan. And look at Boris Kapinovic now. Mehmedovic out on the left as an option. Mehmedovic now gets it through. Boris and Mark Ryan Tan arrive at the far post. Mehmedovic goes down, and he's given another penalty. 2 penalties in 2 minutes at OTH. And just seconds after they get back into the game, they've given the Stags the chance to open up a 2-goal gap again. Well, I think they're suggesting the initial challenge was outside the area. That's Amir Hakim's defence. This replay will tell us more. Well, Mehmedovic, he beat him for pace, or it was marginal, but I think, again, in a similar vein to the first penalty decision, you're asking for trouble. It was armature here, and it's a penalty, isn't it? Yep, no doubt about that. Frustrating, because I'm not entirely sure Mehmedovic was going to get on the end of that. It came after quite a heavy touch. But stepping up to the spot to give us 4 goals through the first quarter of the game and take himself joint top of the AIA Singapore Premier League goal-scoring charts. And on the verge of another hat-trick, it's Big Bad Boris up against Saiful Nizam, in between the sticks 6 years ago, the last time Balestier Khalsa beat Tampines. Can he produce some heroics here? On an afternoon of drama. Stags, they go up by 2 once again. Kapinovic. No mistake at all. Sends Shazwan the wrong way. It's Tampines Rovers 3. Balestier Khalsa 1. It's raining goals on the east coast of Singapore this Saturday afternoon. And that will bring us up to the hydration break. And goodness gracious me, how can we edit all the drama of this first 22 minutes of football into the 60 seconds it will take for the players to get liquid on board? Wonderfully dispatched penalty by Zulzu at one end and Boris at the other. Well, we've now had 4 goals, 2 assists for Armin Bosniak and 2 spot kicks as well. Don't forget, there's 2 games coming your way tomorrow in the AIA Singapore Premier League as well. The Lion City Sailors with their new signing, not available yet. He won't join officially till after the international break. Harris Harun is now a Lion City Sailor. They take on Tanjung Pagar United at Jalan Besar. Going international against Hougang is our feature match of the weekend here tomorrow. Join Roshan Raya and myself for coverage of that one from 5 p.m. local time. Well, I wanted to have a look at Mark Ryan Tan's headed finish again. It was a sensational leap from Mark Ryan Tan to get Tampines Rovers' second goal. But 2 penalties in the space of 2 minutes, both converted, mean it's back to a 2-goal buffer for the Stags. And Boris Kapitovic is on the brink. Of a hat-trick here. He's already got 1 this season in that 7-0 victory against the Young Lions. There have been 5 AIA Singapore Premier League hat-tricks so far this season. Boris Kapitovic could be the second player to get 2. Of course, Kiyashiro Suboi has got a brace of hat-tricks. Not on the score sheet yet today, though. Albirex Nagata being held by the Young Lions at the moment, which would be something of a shock if it stays like that. Here's Boris Kapitovic. Madu. Dropping back, Mark Ryan Tan continuing to impress as a Stag. Madu. Back to Baihaki. And now Ryan Sanazao, who conceded that penalty that got Balestier Khalsa back into things. Over the top, they look really vulnerable down this left-hand side. No direct criticism of Armidshaw here, but Armin Bosniak and in that previous run of play, so Rudi Mehmedovic having a field day down the left. Ryan Sanazao, Iman Hakim with a slightly weak touch, but Mehmedovic gets his foot back over the ball. Mehmedovic, now Nakamura. Nakamura to Mark Ryan Tan. Now, Mark Ryan Tan looks for the 1-2 return, and Mark Ryan Tan's going to get there. Mark Ryan Tan to the byline, looks deep, goes all the way back to Armin Bosniak. Now, Boris waits in the middle, does R1 as well. Boris! Well, he got there first. He tried to improvise a finish, but it's over the bar, and there's no hat-trick yet. There's the bench, Marko Krajovic. Needs to find an answer here. They were really gifted the opportunity to get back into the game. Oh, lovely work. Lovely defensive work from the Stags. Now some trickery from Armin Bosniak. Iman Hakim, Nakamura. Madu. Nakamura. Oh, that's a rare misplaced pass from the Japanese. It missed out Mehmedovic. But look at that. Nakamura battles and wins the ball straight back. Nakamura. Eventually ran into the problem of Gareth Lowe, who came up with the ball. Here's Baihaki. Well, if Albirex drop points at home to the Young Lions, a long way to go, I know. Still over a half of football to play. Tampines win here. All of a sudden, there's a conceivable argument that it's a proper 3-way title race once more. We thought that, didn't we, for large parts of last season, but it really developed into only a 2-horse race between Albirex and Tampines. Of course, we still wait for a Singapore club to win the ultimate league title. The Warriors in 2014, the last Singaporean club, and the last active club to win the title was Tampines Rovers back in 2013. That's 8 long years ago. Since then, it's been a Brunei DPMM and Albirex monopoly. A brace of titles for the Brunei side, and Albirex have won the league in 4 of the last 5 seasons, but they don't look the same force, Albirex, this season. Tampines Rovers and certainly the Lion City Sailors with that boost of Haris Harun. If you've missed that piece of news in the week, don't forget that Haris Harun, captain of the Singapore national side, moves from the Lion City Sailors, or to the Lion City Sailors from JDT after the international break. Here back at OTH, here's Madu Mahana, looks up, time to pick the cross, and it's blocked well by Ako Yazid, but at the expense of a corner. Just the second corner of the game, they've both gone to Tampines Rovers, and Mehmedovic's delivery is usually so reliable as well. Well, 4 games this weekend. We've played less than a half of football of both of them, and already 6 goals. Mehmedovic, can the Stags get a 4th before the break? With the corner by Haki's up there. Hoshino, only as far as Nakamura, with a slightly heavy touch, but again Nakamura does brilliantly to win it back. He's such a combative midfielder for someone who's so skillful. Nakamura. Yaman Hakim. Back to Nakamura, by Haki. Now, Ryan Sanner's out. Irwan looking for Armin again, and Armin has got pace to burn. He continues to cause problems down the left, and always clattered into Zaiful Nizam here. I don't think there was anything malicious about it, but it certainly left Zaiful Nizam in a heap. Keeper's down. I think he just couldn't stop himself there, Armin Bosniak. He was charging through. And Zaiful Nizam restarts. Over the top. Well, it does well to keep it in, but it already got out. There was nothing Justice Souza could do about that. They're just being overrun in midfield here, Balestier Khalsa. They've obviously got Kiki Krajcek, but the more they chase the game, the more advanced he's got to be. They're utilising Shuhei Hoshino more in a midfield role, and it's no match for the experienced midfield pair of Nakamura and Mehmedovic at the moment. Here's Ensar Bruncevic. Here's some space for Gareth Lowe, trying to fancy pass outside of the foot. Haswan Halim's hardly had a kick in this game so far. Armin Bosniak. Irwan is giving him an option down the left. He comes back to Iman Hakim. Nakamura. Well, now the 2-goal lead is restored once more. No real panic by Haki. Nakamura. Armin. Boris waits in the middle. Mark Ryan Tan lurking as well. Boris could challenge for this. Oh, Zaiful Nizam did enough to get there first and then can gather the second time of asking. Zuzu. Oh, that's a great ball from Zuzu, and Irwan had to be really alert there because Haswan Halim incidentally, just to confirm for you, there was one Balestier Khalsa player that went into the book earlier. Ako Yazid is on a yellow card in a game that is going to get stretched late, so if you've got a defender on a yellow in the second half, it could be problematic. The man on possession by Haki Kaizen, the only Tampines player to see red this season. Ensar Bruncevic, of course, was red-carded for Balestier against Haugang, but that was rescinded on appeal, correctly so as well. Nakamura. Was playing in at left back now, Nakamura. So versatile. Mehmedovic. Mehmetovic over the top looking for Ahmed again. And Ensar Bruncevic can do nothing really but just head it behind for yet another corner. You get the feeling if the Stags get out a fourth here before half-time, it really is game over. Last matches in recent history between these teams have been very tight. Only one victory for Tampines in the last 3 years by more than the solitary goal. That was a 4-2 win in the 2019 season here. Balestier Khalsa, as they showed when they got that penalty to get back into it, they just refused to lie down. Mehmetovic's corner. Madu could get there, and Kiki Krajcek just sends it behind for another corner. Mehmetovic over to take. Mehmetovic delivers. Oh, wonderful header at the near post. And you can't believe this, can you? It's extraordinary. It's Mark Ryan Tan again. All aboard the Tan train. Tampines Rovers have their very own version of the MRT. It's Mark Ryan Tan who's got 2, and the Stags have got 4. And if the first header was special, the second one was equally so. Look at him ghosting here, and somehow direct that past Saiful Nizam, and both Boris Kapinovic and Mark Ryan Tan are on hat-tricks. This is extraordinary stuff at our Tampines hub. Look at this for intelligent play from Mark Ryan Tan. And I'm afraid you can probably stick a fork in Balestier Khalsa now. They are done before half-time. They lead by 4-1. Over the top. Oh, he hesitated, Shazwan, and just allowed to run of the ball so he could pick it up in the penalty area. Nakamura. Five first-half goals here. When's it going to stop? You can say what you like, but Tampines Rovers are an attractive team to watch. They play football in the right way. They don't mind passing it round. They'll try to unlock defences. They've got fantastic wing play with the likes of Armin Bosniak and Mark Ryan Tan. But when they're in full flow like this, they're almost unstoppable. Doesn't matter whether you're the Lion City Sailors, Albirex Degata. Look at that. That's a nice touch. Oh, that very robust challenge from Nakamura, who's now down on the deck, having collided with Ahmed Shahir. Second time Nakamura's down on the deck. Well, here's one for the stat boffins. I'd like to know who the youngest player is ever to score a hat-trick in the AIA Singapore Premier League. Mark Ryan Tan, of course, was only 19 in January. And to score both goals with his head as well, simply extraordinary stuff. Over the top now, Haswan Halim's hardly done anything so far. He's managed to get that through the middle. Zuzu's there, thought about going down, but by Haki and Ryan Sanazel managed to clear it up. Here's Nakamura recovered. Kiki Krajcek doing enough to make Nakamura come up with a mistake. Kiki Krajcek, he can bang! Krajcek! Great save, Shazwan! Well, what a half of football this is turning out to be. Save of the game after Kiki Krajcek. The Tigers' leading goal scorer looked destined to bring Balestier back to within 2. Gareth Lowe. He's got Haswan as an option. What a save from Shazwan there. He's had hardly anything to do other than face the penalty. Solid work from Mark Ryan Tan. And Nakamura, this could be a problem here. Nakamura's not the kind of player that would go down for nothing. And just out of your camera shot, Nakamura is down for the 3rd time in this half. Now, unlike Balestier, They have obviously got plenty of cover in the middle of the park, most notably Yasser Hanapi, who could conceivably come on in something of a like-for-like for Nakamura, but this is the third time now the Japanese has been on the deck. Well, what a game this has been. And if you are just joining us, let me take you through the tail of the tape so far in this one, because 5 goals inside the first 45 minutes. Let me tell you what happened after just 9 minutes. Boris Kapitovic at a nothing, latched onto an Armin Bosniak cross, 1-0. Mark Ryan Tan rose highest and best, again off the back of an Armin Bosniak cross, 2-0. That with just 13 minutes on the clock. 7 minutes later, Ryan Sanazal brings down Sime Zuzul to give Balestier a lifeline. Zuzul dispatches the penalty for his 4th of the season, 2-1. And then just moments after that, Ahmed Shahir brings down Mehmedovic. Boris Kapitovic steps up for his 2nd of the game to make it 3-1. And then Mark Ryan Tan from a Mehmedovic corner made it 4-1. And that was the chance that very nearly made it 4-2. They'll come again. Kiki Krajcek is blocked by Mehmedovic now. And Mehmedovic will chase this down, so Ahmed Shahir has to be on his game. Nakamura's header, only as far as Krajcek. Now Hoshino needs to get into the game, or they've got to try and find a way of getting competitive in this midfield battle. They're coming clear second best on that area at the moment. Boris Kapitovic. Back to Madu. Nakamura. Mehmedovic. Armin Bosniak waits on the left. Erwan, a little bit casual there from Mehmedovic. Madu Mahani's an acres of space if Mehmedovic can find him, and find him he does quite brilliantly. Madu takes the touch, finds the cross, and there's a man there. Erwan Shah just couldn't get the finish, and it's behind for a goal kick. It's one of those games where every time the ball goes in the final third, doesn't matter which end of the field it is, you think a goal is likely, especially when it's in the Balestier Khalsa final third. We've had 7 attempts on goal here, and 5 of them, well, that of course includes 2 penalties, have hit the back of the net. Albirex, Nagata and the Young Lions are still tied at 1 each over at Jurong East. Any kind of result there for the Young Lions will be the result of the season so far. Remember, the Young Lions bottom of the table at the moment, looking for their first win of the campaign. Albirex, the league's only unbeaten team. They're 2-0 here against Tampines last week before being pegged back to 2-2. And that also means in the last 43 minutes of football played at our Tampines hub, we've had 3 penalties. A penalty in the last seconds of injury time last weekend, and 2 in the first half here already. Here's Ryan Sanazal. Look at the space they've got to exploit here. Erwan, Armin Bosniak, they can't continue to give Armin this space. Armin, into the area he goes. Armin squares it. Mark Ryan Tan was almost on the end of it to get his hat-trick, but it's behind for a goal kick. Well, difficult to know what Marko Krajovic can do here. I've talked about their lack of strength and depth on the bench. Of their 7 named substitutes, 2 are goalkeepers, and including the 2 goalkeepers, 5 of them are under 23 players. The only experience they have on the bench is Fadli Kamis and Gautam Savamani in midfield. So it's a mountain to climb from here on in. Here's Madu. Zuzul. Hoshino over the top. Hazwan chases. Shazwan with a header clear, and a good header as well. Mehmedovic flicks it on. Only as far as Ensar. Now Jumbo. Shuhei Hoshino. Kiki Krajcek, who's come clear second best in the battle with Nakamura, with the exception of that one chance that forced a great set out of Shazwan. It's advantage Nakamura in that particular head-to-head battle. Hoshino. He gave Iman Hakim a look there. And another mistake sees it go out for a throw. Medovic, Kiki Krajcek, good steal. Gareth Lowe, no option on that right-hand side, so has to go back to Ahmed Shahir. Ahmed Shahir with a long ball to Haswan Halim. He's got to try and get the better of Ryan Sanasil now as Haswan. Sanasil closed him down well, but they still get the ball to Kiki Krajcek. Krajcek looking for Hoshino in the middle. Remember, Hoshino, no goals since the opening day of the season. That's a drought that's going to need breaking if they've got any hope at all of getting competitive in this game once more. Akil Yazid. Josh D'Souza. Josh D'Souza's cross. And that's well plucked out the air by Shazwan with Sime Zuzul pressurising. I'm told there's going to be 2 minutes of time added on for stoppages here. The way this game's going, that's enough for 2 more goals, never mind 1. Here's Gareth Lowe. Well, I think Zuzul thought he was going to be offside there, so he hesitated. That gave the Stags enough time to get it back to Shazwan. Here's Hoshino. Amir Hakim. Gareth Lowe. They're just too tight in midfield, Tampines. They're not giving Balestier any peace in that midfield battle, and it's a hard old shift that Kiki Krajcek's having to put in. What's that pass going to do from Gareth Lowe? It's going to find Zuzul. Gets it down to Kiki Krajcek, and again Nakamura battles there. But it comes back to Kiki regardless. Haswan Halim down the right. Kiki turns inside. Headed away by Madhu. Referee's going to get in the way there, but will play on. Gareth Lowe. Kiki Krajcek. Krajcek. Josh D'Souza, can he get to this? No, he can't. It's behind for a goal kick. Confirmation that the 2 minutes will be added on at the end of the first half. It's still Albirex Nagata 1, the Young Lions 1. 2 Singaporean goal scorers in that game. Nicky Melvin Singh opening the scoring for Albirex, and then the former Stag Joel Chu levelling it up for the Young Lions. It would be the shock of the season so far if it stays that way. Here, it looks like the Stags are on the way to the 3 points, but it's been a roller coaster of 45 minutes of football. A brace for both Mark Tan and Boris Kapinovic. Both of Mark Ryan Tan's goals coming with his head. And they're both going to the second half of a hat-trick. Boris can complete his hat-trick in the first half. He's onside. Boris for a first half hat-trick. Zaiful Nizam stood up well. Would have been the second first half hat-trick of the season after Suboy's first half triple for Albirex Nagata against Tanjung Pagar United earlier this season. And he'll be thinking the Montenegrin he should have scored here. Lovely ball through. Boris timed his run to perfection. It was just that touch, wasn't it, that just took it a little bit further away than he would have liked. Jansen Fu just wanting his free kick taker from the right position. Haswan Halim, he just struggled to get himself imposed on the game in this first 45 minutes, largely thanks to the work of Medovic and Nakamura. Haswan delivers this, looking for Ensar. Ensar, well, he half won the battle with Baihaki, but it's behind for a goal kick, which they won't have time to take. Well, what a half of football that was. 5 goals. A brace apiece for Mark Ryan Tan and Boris Kapinovic. They'll start the second halves on hat-tricks. Balestier Khalsa's sole response coming from the penalty spot after Ryan Sanazal brought down Zuzul, who convert. Right, that's it. What a half of football it's been. We'll give you the best of the action when we come back here at OTH, and we'll give you the second half as well. Confirmation at the break. It's all square at Geelong East. It's not all square here. Tampines Rovers 4, Balestier Khalsa 1. What a half. Welcome back live to our Tampines hub, where we've had 5 goals in the first 45 minutes of football. There's no time to waste. Let's get you straight in to the first half highlights. We go back to the 9th minute. Seems a long time ago now, doesn't it? Boris Kapitovic piping up with his 10th of the season after great work from Armin. Got there first, just in front of Ensar, and Boris with a typical big bad Boris goal, getting there first past the hapless Saiful Nizam. That was 1-0. And that goal came after quite a cagey opening 9 minutes or so. But Boris Kapitovic so lethal, almost identical to the goal that opened the scoring in their game against Albirex Nagata, where they led, remember, and then went behind. That wouldn't happen here. Now look at this ball from Armin Bosniak, and keep an eye on Mark Ryan Tan. I've heard a few people suggest there may have been an element of offside about this, but regardless, we'll try and get a better angle to determine that. How on earth did Mark Ryan Tan rise highest? Well, there's definitely an element, maybe it was borderline with that run, but the assistant referee's flag stayed down. That's all that matters, and Mark Ryan Tan somehow rised highest in the middle of 2 Balestier Khalsa defenders. It looked like a question of how many for Tampines at that stage, but Ryan Senezel with that challenge on Sime Zuzul. I think Jansen Fu spot on with both of his penalty calls in the first 45 minutes. Allowed Balestier to step up to dispatch that. Zuzul with his 4th of the campaign, sending his penalty off the post past Shazwan, who had guessed the right way. But just a couple of minutes after that, right at the other end, another spot kick. Mehmedovic catching out that back line. Chasing back was Ahmed Shahir. He argued afterwards the challenge was outside the area, but the replay shows the referee was right to point to the spot, despite the protestations of Ahmed Shahir, and to a greater extent Amir Hakim, who was nowhere near it, so he wouldn't have been able to tell whether it was outside the area. It's a penalty, isn't it, all day long. And Boris Kapitovic with his 11th of the campaign to take him joined to the top of the goal-scoring charts now with Tomoyuki Doi and Suboi. Well, after Boris got a brace, not to be outdone, the Mehmedovic corner, and again, Mark Ryan Tan. He's the new secret weapon, the MRT of Tampines Rovers, Mark Ryan Tan. More question marks, I'm afraid, over the defending, but great ingenuity from Chan to time his run to perfection and to get it past maybe an unsighted Saiful Nizam. And right after that, Kiki Krajcek. That's the only time he's been able to make one of those bursting runs through midfield. For the most part, it's been kept quiet by Nakamura, and it produced the save of the game so far by Shazwan. And so much happened, we haven't even got time to show you how Boris Kapitovic nearly completed his first half hat-trick. Well, 10 shots, 7 on target, 5 of them have been goals, and 1 yellow card that went the way of Akil Yazid. Now, meanwhile, on the west coast of Singapore at the Jurong East Stadium, are we in for a big shock there? It looked like it was plain sailing for Albirex Nagata, one of their Singaporeans. Nicky Melvin Singh gave them the lead early on in that one, but the Young Lions levelled it up through the ex-stag Joel Chu. So one thing's for certain, the weekend has started in some style in the AIA Singapore Premier League. 2 great games come tomorrow, and 2 fascinating first halves on the way. Stay with us, we're at our Tampines Hub next for the second stanza between the Stags and the Tigers.
AIA Vitality. Your health is every choice you make. We are part of a global wellness program with over 1.65 million members in AIA across Asia. And in Singapore, we have more than 100,000 members on AIA Vitality. Members live healthier by knowing their health through online health assessments and screenings. They improve their health by logging exercises and enjoying the rewards to keep them going. And indeed, members are making improvements in their health. Even the vitality age gap has narrowed to less than a year. Best of all, you earn points for every activity. The higher your status, the greater the rewards, including up to 15% off insurance premium on selected AIA plans. To keep you going, there is the weekly fitness challenge, with personalized targets to help pace and improve your fitness. When you complete the challenge, you get a spin on the Vitality Wheel to earn Vitality Coins, which you can use at the marketplace. That's not all. You also earn AIA Vitality Points for completing these activities. And very soon, you'll be on your way to Platinum status. And we sweeten the deal further with many exciting partner benefits that you can enjoy. With AIA Vitality, nothing gets better than a healthier you. So get onto AIA Vitality today because your health is every choice you make.
Welcome back live for Saturday night sunset football at our Tampines Hub, where we've had 5 fabulous goals in the opening stanza and the promise of more to come in the second 45. So anyway, back for the Tigers of Balestier Khalsa. You would think not, but those players will trot onto the pitch doing their best to get the Tigers back in business against the Stags, who lead by 4 goals to 1. Remember, Boris Kapinovic and Mark Ryan Tan both on hat-tricks here. It's more in the balance at Jurong East. Albirex to 1, Young Lions 1 in that one. That second stanza about to start as well. Remember, both games, like all the games in the AIA Singapore Premier League, available on Singtel StarHub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports as well. And a warm welcome wherever you're watching round the world, as we are back to sunset kickoffs after the Hari Raya Festival. Salamat Hari Raya, belatedly to all our Muslim brothers and sisters watching around the world. But with the fasting month over, the football is back to daylight hours at the weekend. There's Zaiful Nizam in discussion with Shuhei Hoshino. Remember, no Hoshino goal since that brace and the 3-3 draw against the Young Lions on the opening day of the season. That's a 9-game drought. There is going to be a change. It looks like multiple changes for Balestier Khalsa are coming at half-time. I can tell you that Akil Yazidi was on a yellow card. He's being replaced, probably a wise move in the circumstances, by the more experienced Fadli Kamis. So Fadli Kamis is on. And elsewhere, Josh D'Souza, who struggled a little bit in that first 45 minutes, the youngster, he's replaced by the only other experienced hand on the Balestier Khalsa bench. Remember, they've got 2 goalkeepers on the bench today and 3 other underage players, and Gautam Salvamani is also on. So a double change. Looks like the Stags are going to be unchanged. I wonder whether Gavin Lee will give Mark Ryan Tan the time to try and complete his hat-trick. If you know of a younger player than 19-year-old Mark Ryan Tan who scored an AIA Singapore Premier League hat-trick, I'd like to know. I'm sure some of the big-time stat boffins out there will know. Of course, the Young Lions have been in the league for quite some time, but I can't recall a youngster of just 19 years of age getting a hat-trick. I'm sure someone will correct me if that's the case, as the 2 changes are about to be facilitated now. There's Don Darwin, the management team at Balestier Khalsa, just overseeing those changes. Let's give credit as well to the officials. We always talk about them when they get it wrong. I think Jansen Fu had a great half of football there. Both penalties were not marginal calls, but certainly calls that sometimes can be gotten wrong. I think Jansen Fu got both of those right, as confirmation of the second change that sees Gautam Salvamani replacing Josh D'Souza. They've got to try and find a way, Balestier Khalsa, of getting more involved in midfield. The Nakamura and Mamedovich partnership has kept Kiki Krajcek very quiet. Krajcek with just that one explosive burst into the area from which they very nearly scored. So that's what they need to do more of. Tampines are ready to rock and roll. Balestier Khalsa trying to raise their spirits through a big push at the start of the second stanza. It'll be Balestier Khalsa in the white, playing from left to right, and Tampines Rovers in the black, playing from right to left. Live from the east coast of Singapore, this unique arena. Flicked on. It was Sashida who got the touch. Iman Hakim. Flicked on. It was Sashida who got the touch. Iman Hakim. That's what's in golfing parlance is called an air shot. As Balestier tried to break quickly, but a ping back for the foul that saw Ryan Sanazul go to the deck. Back underway at Jurong East. Still Albirex 1, the Young Lions 1. Mehmedovic. Over this, there's a high line on the edge of the 18-yard box. Nakamura makes a run. Mehmedovic. Well, the target was Madu. Ensar Bruncevic got there first, but it's back to Mehmedovic. Well, Tampines not playing on there. If it's a head injury, Janssen Fu would have probably stopped play anyway. Certainly in some discomfort on the deck. Let's have a look at that replay there, if we can figure out what happened. I don't think it was anything malicious, but it certainly has left the young man compromised there. And was that Mark Ryan Tan on the deck? I think it was Mark Ryan Tan or Iman Hakim. It's Mark Ryan Tan. Yeah, the hat-trick, or the man on the brink of the hat-trick, bundled over. And that's certainly something that Gautam Selvamani is going to bring to the table, far more robust. Look about this Balestier Khalsa side now. It's not taken Albirex Nagata long to retake the lead in the second half. It's Albirex Nagata 2, Young Lions 1. So that fairy tale result that at half-time looked likely now. The Young Lions have to come from behind again. Well, Tampines told them how to do that last time, didn't they? Albirex led 2-0 against Tampines here last week, but only managed a 2-all draw. Armin missed both Armin and Fadley out that time. You can see Fadley's been brought on in place of Akil Yazid, and it's a reshuffle at the back. Fadley's now going to be charged with trying to give Armin Bosniak a slightly tougher time. He had the freedom of the left flank in that first half. That's a ball to no one in particular, and by Haki. Tidies it up by getting it to Nakamura. Nakamura with time and space to pick a pass. And what a pass he picks. Oh, it was just in between both of them. Still work. Oh, he's giving it straight to Mark Ryan Tan. And somehow that's gone behind now for a goal kick. Well, that was a wonderful pass. I think both Boris and Mark Ryan Tan. Very difficult from the angles that we had. Nice layoff from Zuzu. I'll tell you something, Selvamani certainly giving them more physicality. Fadley, important header, gets it right enough, but there's no white shirts to mop up the second phase, which means Mehmedovic has got clear space in front of him. Mehmedovic can hit them as well. Mehmedovic gets it to Armin. Boris waits in the middle for the hat-trick, and it's headed behind by Ensar Bruncevic for yet another corner. I can tell you Fumiya Suzuki has got the second goal for Albirex 3 minutes into the second half. The Swans, if they win tonight, will certainly be top of the table at the end of the weekend, wherever the Sailors do tomorrow against Tanjung Pagar. Here's Mehmedovic. Mehmedovic, decent corner again, heads are up, comes out to Nakamura! Ensar Bruncevic on his knees with the block. Now, what can Balestier do on a quick counter? Zuzu is there. Can he get there first, Zuzu? Irwan Shah with a wonderful piece of cover defending. Mark Ryan Tan with his first goals in Singapore Premier League history tonight. And he's got 2 of them, both with this head. And he wouldn't be far off being the shortest player on the pitch either, which makes it even more remarkable. particularly that first goal. Rising above two, much taller Balestier Khalsa defenders in between him. Wan always impresses coming forward, and the limited work he's had to do at the back has impressed today as well. Only twice really did Balestier Khalsa threaten in that first half. When they won the penalty, when Ryan Sanazal brought down Zuzu, and when Kiki Krajcek burst through the middle and fired that shot in that was goalward bound, and Shazwan made the save. Here's Fadley. A bit more steel about Balestier by the looks of things in this second half. Is it going to help stem the flow of goals? Ensar. It's a tester here for Zaiful Nizam. Zaiful, showing some fancy footwork. Route one to Hoshino. He's got a free header there. Straight into Sanazal, who's happy to send it out for a throw. Haswan Halim. Zuzul, like Boris, so hard to dispossess, but Ryan Sanazal managed it there. Armin Bosniak. Armin, Haswan Halim battling back. Armin's gone through two of them. And Ensar's deflection puts it to Mehmedovic. And Mehmedovic trying to find Boris Kapitovic, and Zaiful Nizam will have to pick that up. Will he? No, can let it go behind for a goal kick. Well, they are going to have to chase the game here, Balestier Khalsa, so you would imagine if Tampines so choose, if they want to break quickly, they can do so. It's, of course, only a mere sideshow, but don't kid yourself. Stipe Plazibat and Boris Kapitovic, I'm sure, along with Tomoyuki Doi and Suboi, even though quite rightly all of them would correctly and genuinely say that it's the results for the team that matter. You remember Stipe Plazibat wrist injury to play on just to make sure of that golden boot last season. Took a chance. It means a lot to the players. As things stand, it's now Doi and Suboi on 11, Kapitovic on 11, Stipe on 9, but Stipe will be licking his lips at the prospect of Tanja Bagar tomorrow, I'm sure. Here's Armin Bosniak. Mehmedovic. Gareth Lowe's made a mistake. Armin Bosniak into the area. Armin beats one, beats two. Can he get the shot away? Instead tries to find Boris. And they can't take advantage. As for the first time, Krajcek gets the better of Nakamura, and that releases up the other end Zuzu. But by Haki, like Erwan Shah moments ago, does really well with the cover defending and sends it out for a relatively harmless throw. When it was in the 9th minute of the first half, the floodgates open in the first of 5 goals we got. We're now approaching the 9th minute of the second stanza. Is history going to repeat itself here? Here's Ensar, looking for Haswan. Haswan, Selvamani. Oh, just stumbled there, Selvamani. Oh, Iman Hakim's absolutely crunched. Now, Selvamani has got to go in the book there. He's brought some much-needed steel to Balestier, but that was a little bit naughty. And again, Jansen Fu, I think, has taken the right action. It was worthy of at least a yellow card. I could hear it from up here in the commentary box when he's just scythed in there. I don't think the studs were showing, which is probably what saved him from a red. But it was the kind of tackle with Haswan Halim in attendance there that could have broken a leg. Meanwhile, back to the live action. Balestier Khalsa in through Zuzu. Zuzu trying to get the turn and shot away, but chasing back Iman Hakim. Showing no ill effects from that crunching tackle moments ago. Gives up the corner. And this will be Balestier Khalsa's second corner of the match. Kiki to take. Ensar Bruncevic, always a threat from these kind of set pieces by Haki's picking him up. Far too close to Shazwan. Had a good game, Shazwan, not had much to do really, but what he's had to do, he's done well. Of course, didn't stop the penalty, guessed the right way, winning off the post from Sime Zuzul to give him his 4th of the season. Nakamura. Wonder what Gavin Lee will do with his substitutes bench now. Of course, the Stags have another game next week here against Hougang, where they'll be looking for revenge from that 5-1 defeat earlier in the season before they take what will probably be a very extended break with the international break and the AFC Champions League looming. Armin up against Gareth Lowe. Now what can Armin do here? Armin, oh, he's teasing Gareth Lowe. Armin gets it back, Nakamura! Nice flick! And Mehmedovic gets it back to Nakamura again. Mehmedovic is down. I think more in hope than expectation that Janssen Fu might give the third penalty of the game. Balestier Khalsa survived that. Here's Ryan Sanazal. Irwan. Baihaki anticipated that well because he was under pressure from Nakamura. Wants it. Nakamura gets it. Now look at the space that Iman Hakim is in. If they can find him, they bypassed Iman Hakim to Irwan, and Fadley got enough on it to send it back at a manageable pace to Zaiful Nizam. Baihaki coming out on top in that aerial battle there with Zuzu. Baihaki did well there because he wasn't getting much help from his teammates. Here's Armin. Well, the frightening thing now, of course, is if he introduces Yasser Hanapi, Gavin Lee. That was the plan you heard from Farah Nair pre-match when she was speaking to Gavin. The plan was to bring Yasser on to give them a bit of thrust in the second half. If he comes on against some tiring Balestier Khalsa legs, they really could carve up that midfield even more so than they did in the first half. No question, though, the added muscle, if you like, of Selvamani has made a difference. Here's Kiki Krajcek. Gareth Lowe. Kiki Krajcek making a good run, but Baihaki will get there first, and cool as you like. Gets it to Madu. Mehmedovic, Nakamura, look at this. This is what the Stags can do when they break at pace. Wonderful one-touch stuff. Now, Armin. Boris wants for the hat-trick. Mehmedovic is there as well. Mehmedovic throws it through to Boris. Boris through on goal. Hat-trick time. Great save. Zaiful Nizam. Well, it possibly should have gone a little bit earlier. He was just about onside, and Boris hit that with some venom, and it is near post. Zaiful Nizam's come up with a corking save there. Change on the way, and there'll be no hat-trick for Mark Ryan Tan, but one of the new young stars of Singapore football, MRT, all aboard the Tan train. Mark Ryan Tan with 2 headed goals in the opening half has put Tampines in a commanding position, and Mark Ryan Tan, who was with the Young Lions last season, continues to improve under Gavin Lee's tutelage, leaps and bounds here at our Tampines hub this season. Congratulations to Mark Ryan Tan. 2 sensationally headed goals. Near Yasser Hanapi, what can he do? Nothing that time. But Baihaki can pick it up with minimal pressure. Here's Armin Bosniak, who's just tormented them down the left all night. Bosniak! Another great save, Zaiful Nizam. Danger's not cleared. Yasser waits, and it's deflected behind for a corner. Well, it's becoming a bit like a turkey shoot in this Balestier Khalsa penalty area now. That was goalwards, you know. I think Zaiful Nizam only decided to try and keep that out at the last minute, thought it was going wide, but you can see from this angle what Armin Bosniak was trying to do, and that was bending back in to the goal. Another corner, their 8th of the game for the Stags. Yasser, Madu. Cleared only as far as Armin Bosniak. Only surprise so far is we haven't had any more goals in the second half. Irwan is offside here by Haki. And that will give Balestier Khalsa a chance to clear their lines. Just slow from coming back out there. Game still in the balance at Jurong East. Albirex 2, the Young Lions 1 in that one. Marko Krajovic, his team. I talk about Tampines having that big game against Howgang before the June-long break. Balestier are at Jurong East next week against Tanjung Pagar. Hazwan Halim, this could get interesting. Hazwan! Another good save, Shazwan, and Madu gets it clear to Nakamura. Kiki Krajcek into the area. Krajcek gets the better of Nakamura again for once. But with a second bite, Nakamura wins it back, and now Mehmedovic has got nothing but empty space in front of him. Boris on one side, Yassir's there as well. Armin Bosniak, Mehmedovic twists and turns and just tricks himself there, I think. Allowing Insar Bruncevic to get it away. But into the final 30 we go. Still think Tampines are more likely to add to the 4 they've already got. And again, I know people will probably poo-poo me, but don't forget how important goal difference could still be. It is the primary tiebreaker in the AIA Singapore Premier League. Look at the goal differences of the teams as it stands in progress. Of course, the Albirex now will be moving to +17. The Sailors who play Tanjung Pagar tomorrow, remember, are +18. This 4-1 win would take Tampines to +13. So, you know, people talk about there only being 10 games gone in the season, but don't forget there's only 21 games throughout the whole campaign. We're almost at the halfway mark, and goal difference is in effect an extra point. Of course, Tampines' goal difference took a battering when they were beaten 5-1 by Hougang. Managed to redeem themselves somewhat with 7-0 and 4-0 wins against the Young Lions. But if the goals are there, I'd be going for them if I was Tampines. They already have conceded ground in that title race to Albirex and the Lion City Sailors. This win would take them to played 11-21. That have played a game more than everyone else because of that extra fixture they squeezed in against the Young Lions that they won in preparation for their AFC Champions League campaign in Uzbekistan. Albirex would be played 10 points 24, so they'd still be 3 points off the White Swans, having played a game more as well. If you think the Sailors are going to win tomorrow, that would leave them a point behind Albirex, having played the same number of games, but of course that's assuming Tanjung Pagar don't cause a shock, and we know that they're capable of anything. Here's Nakamura, look at Mehmedovic. Mehmedovic gets all this space. Yassir, on the right-hand side is Yassir. Mehmedovic might want this back. Well, he fired it straight into Ahmed Shahir, and they'll have to make do with the throw. Reminder, if you're watching in Singapore, please do take note of those new guidelines from tomorrow. It's been great to see so many of you coming to the games on an ad hoc basis, even when the stadiums have been closed, watching through nooks and crannies. But I think it's right for everyone concerned that we tighten up on everything from tomorrow in line with the government guidelines. So please do, where you can, watch it at home. Singtel Star Hub, the AIA Singapore Premier League Facebook page, and One Play Sports will be bringing you the action here in our feature game tomorrow. Great pre-show with Rosham Rai as Geylang take on Hougang tomorrow. The other game sees the Lion City Sailors take on Tanjung Pagar. Here's Ahmed Bosniak looking for Boris, who's on the hat-trick, and that's well left by Amir Hakim as it goes through to Zaiful Nizam. Nakamura. Armin's going to get to this. He's got Irwan to help him. Mehmedovic in the middle. Armin Bosniak. Pace of the game's just slowed noticeably in the last couple of minutes. Nakamura. Ryan Sanazal. Haven't seen much from Yasser Hanapi so far. Remember, they've also got Taufik Supano, their super sub on the bench. If he gets 15 minutes here, I'd expect him to score as Hazwan Halim, with a very obvious foul on Iman Hakim right in front of referee Jansen Fu. Continues to arbiter this game very well. Balestier Khalsa have had some justification in feeling they've been on the wrong end of some bad decisions this season. Not today, Mehmedovic! Just off target with Zaiful Nizam scrambling back. So, find the 25-minute mark we go. Still a couple of changes available for Gavin Lee. One available for Marko Krajovic. Interesting to note that Fazrul Nawaz is another option on the bench for Tampines in the striking department today. The floodlights are on as the sun sets here in the east coast of Singapore. Tampines Rovers still leading Balestier Khalsa by 4-1. All goals coming in the first half. In the first 35 minutes, in fact. Here's Boris. We are going to see Taufik Supano in a minute to replace Iman Hakim. So Taufik will get 25 minutes against the tiring defence to try and improve on his 4-goal tally for the season. Had a good game, Iman Hakim. I think Gavin Lee's done a great job in his recruitment of his younger players here. Mark Ryan-Tan's really proved that. And I think there's an argument to say Iman Hakim has played an even bigger part than Mark Ryan-Tan. He was, of course, with Albirex last season, Iman Hakim. They lost one of their underage players when Shah Shahiran went off to do his national service, and Iman Hakim is filled into that slot as well as can be expected. Armin, Ensar, and Saiful Nizam unable to prevent corner number 9 for Tampines Rovers. Change is coming. Iman Hakim's racist run. He'll be replaced by Taufik Sapano, who's been scoring goals for fun off the bench. His last one coming, and what a goal it was too in that 4-0 win against the Young Lions game before last in that make-up game. He also came close to netting from a similar position, in fact, in that draw against Albirex. But Taufik, after Iman Hakim takes the congratulations of Gavin Lee, is on to the fray, and that's another headache for Balestier Khalsa. Ryan Sanazao, Saiful Nizam watched it well enough. Route 1 looking for Zuzu. Bayhaki is there, and Bayhaki, who's not put really a foot wrong today, wins it comfortably against the giant. Croatian in the air. Gareth Lowe. Ensar Bruncevic. Gareth Lowe again. Hazwan wins the free kick. And Shah penalised. Just the 2 yellow cards. The now departed Akil Yazid, and then quite rightly Gautam Selvamani for that challenge on Iman Hakim went into the referee's notebook. Hazwan with a free kick. Do get the feeling Balestier Khalsa's only chance really of getting another goal back is from a set piece. With the height they've got, the likes of Ensar. I wonder what Tampines' appetite's going to be like for quick counter-attacking with all these big men committed forward if they can get the ball back here. And they will get the ball back. And Boris, with a very nice cheeky header, will get Yasser Henapi away and in business. Here's Taufik, the fresh legs of Yasser Henapi and Taufik Sapano. Boris Kapinovic waits in the middle. Is this the hat-trick moment? Boris Kapinovic for his 3! Oh, he sliced it high and wide. That was a chance to take outright ownership at the top of the Golden Boot race. He nearly completed the hat-trick on half-time, and this was arguably an even better chance through the middle. But he sliced that horribly wide. Great cross from Yasser after he and Taufik had combined well. And Boris, head in his hands, he can't believe it. Saiful Nizam. Shino, they take the free kick quick and cheekily. Trying to release Kiki Krajcek. Hazwan waits in the middle, and they'll have to settle with a corner after Madi Bahana gets across well. But the second half's not been anywhere near as dramatic as the first, but it would have been very difficult for it to be after the craziness of the 2 penalties and the 5 goals. Balestier Khalsa, Tampines have just taken their foot off the pedal here a little bit, and they're going to pay, are they? Hoshino off the post and then off the line. They're claiming it across the line, but I think Madi Mahana did enough. Well, they switched off the last couple of minutes, Tampines, in defence. Gavin Lee won't be happy about that, and only the post and then a clearance off the line prevents Balestier from getting back to within 2. Headed on, Madhu belts it out for a throw. Now let's try and decipher what happened here, because the ball definitely hit the post off Ashino's header, and then I think Madhu, just in time, it was Krajcek's cross, flicked on with Shazwan beaten, and then even a suggestion of handball there, and somehow as he tried to turn it back into the goal, it's off the line by Madi Bahana, and that will bring us to the second half hydration break, with Tampines Rovers still leading by the 4-1 margin that they did at half-time. Boris could easily have had his hat-trick mark. Ryan Tan's now departed, replaced by Yasser Henapi, the 19-year-old who bagged his first 2 goals in the AIA Singapore Premier League here. This is the opener after just 9 minutes. Boris, after wonderful work through Armin, No player in the AIA Singapore Premier League now has more assists than Armin. That was Mark Ryan Tan. I still can't understand how he rose in between two taller Balestier Khalsa defenders. That was 2-0. Ryan Salazar brings down Zuzu to give Balestier Khalsa a lifeline that didn't look like it was going to come. But just 2 minutes after they'd won that penalty at one end, a clumsy challenge by Armin Shahir at the other allowed Boris to get his second of the game. And how about this for clever play from Mark Ryan Tan, his second of the game. And that is that. That's how we've arrived at the scoreboard of 4-1 in the Stags' favour. Albirex are still leading the Young Lions by 2-1. Whatever happens from here on in, I don't think anyone expected the Young Lions to be in there with a puncher's chance. Just 2-1 down at Albirex. Remember, that one was 1-1 at half-time. And credit to Philip Orr, the work he's doing with the Young Lions. Poor old Marko Kravic. It's going to be 5 games without a win for Balestier Khalsa, and maybe somewhat more alarmingly, it's going to be 5 straight defeats since their 2-1 win against Geylang, which was at the start of April, which seems a long time ago now. Far cry from when they went to Geelong East and held Albirex to a goalless draw on match day 3 at that point. They came into that game off the back of a very close defeat at the hands of Tampines, in which some people thought they were unjustifiably denied an equaliser with a rogue offside flag. Irwan. Oh, Armin, look at that, fat his hands all over him, but Armin still gets it to Yassir. Here's Irwan. Irwan, Boris waits in the middle, Irwan. Cleared away. Only as far as Mehmedovic. Mehmedovic again. Pace continues to have dropped off a little bit here. Irwan. Tampines. Sometimes they've been accused of not having a plan B, but when they're playing this gav ball and they're being given the run of midfield, which is what's been the case today, they are a joy to watch, aren't they? Nakamura. Yassir. Armin. Armin's tormented whoever they put up against him down that left. Fadi, the latest one to be given a sleepless night. Irwan. Mehmedovic. To Nakamura. Armin again. How about this for patient build-up? They've strung about 20 passes together and only stayed in about 10 square metres of the pitch. Mehmedovic. Gautam Selvamani's got to be careful. He's already on a yellow. Mehmedovic, Gautam Selvamani's got to be careful if he's going to make a challenge here. And Mehmedovic just lost control of that. And that's an offside flag, presumably against Zuzu. Ryan Salazar. Into the final 16.5 minutes we trot. Remains Stags 4, Balestier Khalsa 1, with Boris still on a hat-trick. And still as it stands now, joint top of the Golden Boot chart. Won last season by Stipe Plazovat. He'll get his chance tomorrow. Of course, in terms of the games played by Tampines, if he does go outright clear in that goal-scoring chart, Boris, it would have been on the strength of playing more games than anyone else so far. He did actually miss the game against the Young Lions. He only came on as a late sub there and didn't get on the score sheet, which you could argue didn't help his cause. But just to repeat myself, all the players, I'm sure, are more concerned. Well, I know they're more concerned on the team's performance and the Golden Boot, which is a nice touch if it comes. Here's Armin Bosniak. Is Boris going to get on the end of this? No. Amir Hakim just doing enough. I'm being told Haswan Halim's about to be replaced by Aravindan Ramanathan. Haswan Halim has been quiet here. Torfik gets it back to Mehmedovic. High wide and not so handsome. Yeah, not his finest night tonight, no question about that. Haswan Halim and Aravindan, one of their under-23 substitutes, is going to come on. Had time and space to pick his spot here, Mehmedovic, but 30 yards out was a big ask and not on target. Changes coming now with 15 minutes to play. Coming on to have a look at proceedings is the debutant, Aravindan Ramanathan. 20-year-old. Gareth Lowe. It's gone to Boris, and Yasser Hanapi's controlled that brilliantly with the first touch. Arman to the left. Bosniak looking for Boris again. Bosniak. Didn't quite fall for them there. But Balestier Khalsa just keep on knocking at the door, and they can't seem to get anything going in the final third. Can that change now? Here's the substitute. Aravindan. Aravindan. Well, straight behind him, afraid for a goal kick, his first contribution seconds after coming on. To 3, the shots on target. Armin Bosniak's 2 assists, take him joint with 5 for the season, alongside Kaishu Yamazaki of Haugang, who we'll see in action tomorrow against Geylang. Stipe Plazibat, who's, as well as having 9 goals this season, got 5 assists. What a month he had in April, the AIA Player of the Month for April. Mehmedovic has also got 5 as well. And I can tell you, Hashioka has also had an assist for Albirex this afternoon. Well, this game's been over as a contest for quite some time. It will be interesting to see if Tampines can breach the Balestier Khalsa defence again. Hoshino's struggles in front of goal continue, still without a goal since the opening day. Aravindan, oh, that was an intelligent pass. And Nakamura, well, it was Gautam Selvamani, who had the right idea here. He would have been onside as well. Nakamura, that was an important touch. Gave away the corner, but it could have been a lot worse. Keep an eye on Fadley, lurking in at the far post. They've already had the post hit and had the ball cleared off the line. They've probably come closest to scoring in the second half, in contrast to Tampines, Balestier Khalsa. But when the stakes are like they are here, losing 4-1, it's a different ball game, isn't it? Tampines have definitely dialed down the intensity a notch in the last 15 or so minutes, and Shuhei Hoshino trying to find some form from somewhere. Hoshino, who of course scoring goals for fun. For Albirex in seasons past, and that's the right old muddle. Can they capitalise? Hoshino still can't score. Comes out to the debutant, and he should have taken a touch there. He's had his pocket pinched by Nakamura. But they've definitely fallen asleep here, Tampines. Can they wake themselves up here at the other end of the field? Irwan. Well, Hoshino, 19 goals he had in 2018, and still, even with a chance like that presented to him, he can't score this. Just those 2 goals on the opening day against the Young Lions in that 3-3 draw. And there was a real chance to pinch one there as Tampines fell asleep at the back. Mari Bahana, what a game he's had. Cleared one off the line in the second half. Yasser Hanapi threatening to catch fire. Yasser Hanapi. He's already got 5 goals this season. Quickest time he's got to 5 goals in the campaign this year. Nakamura. Mehmedovic. Oh, Ryan Sanazo again. Just, they've dropped the intensity a bit. I suppose you can forgive them to an extent. They're 4-1 in front, but Gavin Lee, I don't think he'll be as happy with his second half performance as he was with the first. Here's Gautam Selvamani. He's given them a bit more steel in midfield. Selvamani, oh, Irwan telegraphed that. Oh, Gautam Selvamani. Don't forget he's already been on a yellow card for what seems like half an hour. Well, by Haki, not his fault, I think, here. It was reminiscent of the mistake that Hassan Sunny made last week. But how on earth has Shuhei Hoshino not scored from that? And I think he was surprised, Aravindan Ramanathan, to get the opportunity, because he should have done a smash at that as well. Can't spurn opportunities like this and expect to get back in the game, Balestier Khalsa. Shazwan, only mistake of the game he's made, I hasten to add. Ryan Sanazao, who does look to be running on empty a little bit, Ryan Sanazao on the old petrol tank. Shazwan looking for Armin. Ensar Bruncevic wins it in the air. Now here comes Hoshino. Here's Aravindan. Blocked by Ryan Sanazell, and it'll be behind for another corner. Into the final 10 minutes we tick. Slightly less to play at Geelong East in the final 8 minutes there. Still Albirex the 2. The Young Lions 1. Kiki Krajcek taking on some fluid. It's a very humid evening here. Local time of 7:10 in the evening. Hope you're safe and well wherever you're watching around the world. Don't forget more great AIA Singapore Premier League action tomorrow. Still some to come tonight as Ryan Sanazell grabs that out the air. Tomorrow night, feature game of the weekend. Join Roshan Ra and myself for Galing International against Hougang. Galing have been showing plenty of fight of late, but need to start rediscovering the winning touch against Hougang, who came out on top against Balestier Khalsa last week in a 7-goal thriller, 4-3. And the other game sees the Lion City Sailors. No Harris are in the starting lineup yet. He'll join after he's represented Singapore on the international stage in June. They take on Tanjung Pagar United. Here's Taufik. Taufik. Goal kick. Taufik doesn't like that decision. He's not going to get any change from the assistant referee. Jansen Fu referee, assistants Lim Kok Keng and Alson Fu have had a good game today. Here's Saiful Nizam with the clearance. The intensity's slowly but surely just ebbed away out this game in the second half, as sometimes is the case when you get a first half that's packed full of goals that all go one way, with the exception of that consolation penalty that Balestier Khalsa scored. It's over the top. Kiki Krajcek now playing out on the left. Didn't get any joy against Nakamura through the middle, and Nakamura now picking the pocket of Hoshino, who's hopelessly out of form, I'm afraid. Here's Mehmedovic. Armin. Armin so reliable down that left-hand side. Very rarely makes a mistake. Irwan. Having said that, of course, you could argue he was responsible. Got called out by Hashioka, didn't he, for the goal that put Albirex 2-0 up here just after half-time last week. But I think that was more a victim of a tactical reshuffle as someone's down, I can only assume with cramp. Now, interestingly enough, they're going to make another change here, Tampines, and it's going to be a goalkeeping change. Now, I don't know whether Saiful Nizam is injured, but it's going to be an opportunity for Zulfar Ruiz Rudy to see some action here, albeit just 6.5 minutes of it. Now, he did go down, didn't he, Shazwan, when they had that defensive mix-up that nearly led to a Balestier Khalsa goal, but 26-year-old debutant goalkeeper Zulfar Ruiz Rudy is going to get some game time here, the former Young Lion, Home United and Hougang man. Ball's going to need to go out of play before he can see some action, of course. Madhu, Taufik, and now I think the change will be made. Assistant referee is signalling for the change, so well, Shazwan trotting off. No, there's not too much wrong with him. Maybe this is the tactic of Gavin's, just to give some game time to Zulfar Ruiz, because obviously if they do go to the Champions League, they need to have a goalkeeper who's had some recent minutes under him, because when they're playing Jumbuk Sydney and Gamba Osaka, if those games happen, they are going to be very busy, the Tampines Rovers goalkeepers. That's inevitable. Headed away well enough by Amir Hakim. Nakamura! Saiful Nizam gathered it well. Nakamura scored a goal from even further out than that, of course, against the Young Lions. Caught Dylan Pereira off his line a couple of weeks ago. Irwan. Tampines Rovers going to get a 5th goal to make this a 5-star display. at the moment. It was a 5-star display in the first half, bordering on 3.5 in the second, but who can blame him with the points in the bag? So easy for the intensity to drop off, and Balestier Khalsa have shown more fight in the second half at least. And look at the run from Boris here. He's been found by Yasser Hanapi. Narrow angle for Boris! Zaiful Nizam stops it well. That's the second good save that Zaiful Nizam's made. Boris Kapitovic has had enough chances to have scored 6 in this game. Boris got the better of Ensar Bruncevic, and Zaiful Nizam, who's smart on his near post there, kept it out. Some tired bodies down there. Remember, next weekend, Tampines Rovers taking on Hougang International, looking for revenge, or Hougang United, I should say, apologies. Geylang are the International, we're seeing them tomorrow. Yeah, Tampines Rovers, Geylang, Hougang United is next Saturday. That's our feature game next weekend. As for Balestier Khalsa, next up for them is a trip they'll see as winnable. Next Sunday, they'll be at Jurong East to take on Tanjung Pagar United in a game that really will be a physical and feisty affair, I fancy. Ryan Sannes out. Madhu Mahana does really well to keep that in. Madhu looks up, tries to find Boris, and he finds Boris. Boris chests it down, gives it to Armin. Armin, can he get the shot away? Yes, he can. Another sensational save, Zaiful Nizam. And it's behind for a corner. Well, that's some save here. Boris not thinking about the hat-trick, thinking about the team. Got the ball to Armin. He cut inside on that right foot. And bearing in mind, he had to get down very quickly there. Zaiful Nizam, who's now completed 4 very, very impressive second-half saves. From a Balestier Khalsa point of view, I think they would have hoped those saves would have come in the first half. Although not much in truth he could have done with a couple of those Stags goals. Nemenovic. Armin again. They keep giving him far too much time and space down the left. Is there another goal in this for Tampines? Yes, there is! And it's Ryan Sannes out, and another assist, a hat-trick of assists for Armin Bosniak. And Ryan Sannes out puts the cap on a great night for Tampines Rovers. We've seen Mark Ryan Tan get his first ever goals in professional football at the age of 19, and Ryan Sannes out has got a goal at a year younger. The 18-year-old, after more wonderful work from Armin Bosniak, found it on Ryan Sannes' head. And the future's bright at OTH for Tampines Rovers. First goal of the season. I'm doing Ryan Sannes a disservice. He has, of course, got 2 Stags goals before, but it's his first goal of the season at the age of 18. And when you're a team that have got goal scorers of 18 and 19 in your ranks in a 5-1 victory, you know the squad is in good shape. Machino and Boris Kapitovic just being spoken to by Jansen Fu, continues to officiate this game very well. Nakamura, final 60 seconds, do they want 6? Armin, that's the only mistake he's made in 18.5 minutes of football. And it's another one to bring Fadi down with a foul. And I think it's also testament to Jansen Fu in this game that he's only shown the yellow card twice. Both of them, I think, were warranted. Akuyaz in the first half, and particularly Gautam Salvamani in the second. Did a good game, the official here. But it may be his 3rd goal for Tampines Rovers, Ryan Sannes out. It is his 1st goal of this season. His 3rd year with the Stags now. Just the 3 minutes to be added on for stoppages, so with another man down injured. Is it Gareth Lowe now that's down in some discomfort? I think it might be Gareth Lowe, who's been given a real hard time alongside Kiki Krajcek, who's tried to move out on the left in this second half to get more involved in the game. It's not happened. Oof, just got clipped there, didn't he, by Nakamura. Gareth Lowe okay to continue. Both teams have used all three changes. Marko Kravic will be disappointed here. And Balestier's recent poor run against Tampines continues. As it stands, Balestier Khalsa, who've lost 2 games, 4-1 this season. They're on heading for their biggest defeat of the campaign. Another free kick this time for the foul by Amir Hakim, who brings down Boris Kapinovic. Might be a receipt for something that was done to one of his teammates slightly earlier. Into injury time as well, deep into injury time. Albirex Nagata still leading the Young Lions by 2-1. The Young Lions have put up a real fight at Jurong East tonight. Nakamura finds Madu. Madu, who's skippered the team brilliantly today, led from the back. Ryan Sanazal, first goal of the campaign for him. Yassir. Well, that's a good challenge. Good hustle from the youngster, Aravindan. He gets it back now. Aravindan, can he get the final product in by way of a cross? No, he doesn't, as his pocket pinched by Irwan. Now Ryan Nakamura, Tampines content just to walk it out the penalty area at the moment. Armin, back to Irwan. Irwan to Yassir, who's back helping out deep. Gautam. Here's a side to Vakiki. Krajcek, can he pull the trigger? Krajcek! Well saved. Hoshino now, surely. He's put it wide. The big man still can't score. He should have had 2 now in the second half. Shuhei Hoshino, at his weight for a 3rd goal of the season goes on. Kiki Krajcek, so lethal from that kind of range. For the 2nd time today, he forces a strong save. This time, not out of Shazwan. Out of the young keeper, Zufar Ayuz, who's had to make one strong save, and he's made it well. Well, the game finishes with both sets of players out on their feet. It's a very comprehensive win for Tampines Rovers. 2 from Kapinovic, 2 from Ryan Tan, and the first goal of the season for youngster Ryan Sanazal just before full time, with Sime Zuzu's 20th minute penalty, the only riposte that Balestier could make. They should have scored a couple of times in the second stanza, but at that point the game was already beyond them. It's finished here. Tampines Rovers 5, Balestier Khalsa 1. Well, let's look back at the highlights. The 9th minute opener, Armin, who's got a hat-trick of assists here today, crossing for Boris Kapinovic to take him into double figures for the season. Lovely work from Armin, cheeky little touch, out of nothing really, and Boris pokes it home. How about this for a cross from Armin Bosniak? And what about this header from young Mark Ryan Tan, his first ever goal in pro football, rising above 2 taller Balestier Khalsa defenders. A wonderful finish, and it will get better for the youngster not too soon after that. But before Tampines could go on their relentless march to a convincing victory, they did have one hiccup to navigate. That Mark Ryan Tan goal worth another look. Look at this from Sime Zuzu, who didn't get much service all game. This is the one occasion where he did manage to get goal side and Bertha on goal, and Ryan Sanazal brings him down for a spot kick. Referee Jansen Fu not hesitating. And when you look at it again, I think the referee got this and the penalty decision that would come later absolutely spot on. Well, he gets the right way, Shazwan, but Zuzu off the post and in for his 4th of the season. 2-1, and you think they're game back on, but just 3 minutes after that, look at this run from Amenovic and the challenge that comes in from Armature here inside the area. They protested, but it's another decision. Jansen Fu got spot on. So Boris Kapinovic, having checked that Amenovic was okay, went over to pick the ball up with a chance to join Suboy and Tommy Yukido at the top of the goal-scoring charts, and he did just that. So 2 goals for Boris inside the opening 25 minutes. The only surprise, really, being that Boris didn't go on and complete the hat-trick because he had plenty of chances to do so. That was Ryan Tan's header from a Mehmedovic corner. Wonderful stuff from the youngster. His first 2 goals in AIA Singapore Premier League history, and they've come as absolute beauties with his head. Well, that was 4-1, the only goal of the second stanza right before the end. Ryan Sanazao attaching himself to Armin Bosniak's cross. Armin with a hat-trick of assists here in the game tonight. And Ryan Sanazao totally for giving away that penalty earlier. Balestier Khalsa came close in the second half, as too did Tampines, but in truth the game was over as a contest after the first 45 minutes. Balestier Khalsa comprehensively beaten in every department, including the most important one of all, the scoreline, as they lose by 5-1. Well, let's just confirm the final whistle has gone at Jurong East, and Albirex to survive a scare. Singapore's Nicky Melvin Singh gave them the lead inside the first 4 minutes. Joel Chu, a former Tampines Rovers player, equalised after 20, and Suzuki with the go-ahead goal just after half-time was enough to see the Swans increase their lead at the top of the table to 3 points over Tampines Rovers, who go above the Lion City Sailors. But do note the Sailors have a game in hand over Albirex and 2 in hand of Tampines Rovers. As for Balestier Khalsa, they remain on single-digit points through the first 10 games. Well, 2 cracking matches tonight. There'll be another 2 crackers tomorrow. Do join us. Our feature match comes from right here at our Tampines hub. It'll be Roshan Rai and myself bringing you coverage of Gelling International against Hougang United. We're on air at 5 p.m. local time for that one. And then the Sailors take on Tangible United at Jalan Besar with a 5:30 kickoff. Stay safe, stay well, and do remember, if you're watching in Singapore, to adhere to these strengthened COVID-19 protocols tomorrow. Stay home, watch it on the television or on your tablet device. Don't come down to the stadiums. It's finished here. Tampines Rovers 5, Balestier Khalsa 1.